Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the boat yard. What we're going to build today is a fiberglass panel. I need to build a bracket, and I need a piece of flat fiberglass. So what we have here is a piece of aluminum plate that I've used. It's a nice flat smooth surface, and we went to our local auto parts store and picked up some cheap Carnauba wax. This is like $7 for a can of wax. And what we did was we waxed this thing down 2 or 3 times, real heavy, because I don't need a fine polish. I just need where it doesn't stick to the plate. So there you go. And we're going to be building this panel out of polyester resin. And these are the guys. Total Boat is who we rely on. They're good. Been using them for years. So we got a gallon of polyester resin. Yep. Right here, comes well packaged. They get it to you super quick, so there you got that. Right there. A gallon of polyester resin. That's what we're going to be using. And there's our MEK, methyl ethyl ketone peroxide. That's what does the catalyst, and that's what makes the magic happen. So we're going to take this MEK, and we're going to squeeze it into this bigger dispenser bottle. Just makes it easier for me to dispense the catalyst. There you go. They send you enough catalyst to do a gallon, but actually, you know, there's times when you use a little bit more than the recommended allowance, because every situation is different. Yeah. So there's that. We got that in there. That's all good. And we're gonna get to work here in a quick minute. And you can see the way this thing works is you squeeze it, and then the MEK comes out. Yeah, how about that? Isn't that cool? So yeah, here's our polyester resin by Total Boat. Love this stuff. And I've got 16 ounces in my little measuring cup there. I'm gonna put all that in, and this is my polyester laminating bucket, I guess you'd call it. I've been using this for a while, and I just like something that kind of spreads out the resin so it doesn't kick off as fast. You know, if you put it in a real tight container, then all of a sudden you're going to have issues where it kicks off too fast. We're in our area. I need a brush and I need a roller. So there's a little air roller, and here's a little brush. Now we got 16 ounces of resin that we need to catalyze. But let's get our little thing in the way there. And we're going to be doing this for right now, right in the hot sun. But we're going to move it once we get it done into the shade. So for now, we're going to take this little thing and put it there. It makes it a little bit more stable. So that's going to stay there. And here are our 8 layers of 1708 fabric. And actually what we're making today is a bracket. This is going to be a bracket for the pennant for the centerboard, but I need a bracket. We'll get more into that later. Here is my, I don't know if you can see it, but here's a scale, here's a gauge, here's a chart of how much catalyst we want to put in. So I've got basically 16 ounces, so we're going to put, it says 5 cc's at 73 degrees. So yeah, so I guess we're gonna, I'm always been a little bit heavy-handed on putting in my catalyst, but what the hell. Yeah, so there you go. So with these 8 layers, we're going to build, hopefully it's going to be at least 3/16 of an inch thick. That's what I'm thinking. 1/4 inch would be nicer. But yeah, we've got to build this flat panel, the stock panel, and then we're going to cut it up and turn it into a bracket. Yeah. So this is kind of nicely mixed up, more or less. Give it a good mix, and then let's put some poly on our panel. Should put a piece of plastic on this workbench. It would actually make it. I hope that's not going to stick right there. We'll see. We'll see. So here's layer number 1. And the thing about laying down resin is you just kind of dab it on there. You don't try and paint it in. You just get it on there, and it will saturate in its own good time, faster than you would think. So I don't know if you guys can see it or not. So we're gonna try and make things a little better for you to see. All right, so there's layer number 1. And this is going to be layer number 2. Yeah. So I mixed up 16 ounces of resin, and I catalyzed it about 1%, something like that, more or less. And doing it right in the sunlight, that can kick you in the ass sometimes, because the heat from the sun speeds up the chemical reaction. And here's a little side note. MEKP. Okay, what the hell is it? Well, MEK is a slow evaporating solvent. Kind of like you got acetone is a fast dissolving, then you got lacquer thinner, you got mineral spirits, you got water, you got all those different solvents. But it takes such a small, minute amount of organic peroxide. That's the P part of MEKP. So it takes such a small amount of organic peroxide to start the chemical reaction that they needed to carry it in something. So they chose MEK, methyl ethyl ketone, as the carrying agent. So you'd have so there's number 2. I guess that's number 2, and here comes number 3. So doesn't matter whether I go up or down with it, that's just the way it is. It's all good. So I'm going to move this over here kind of in the shade a little bit. So there was one little spot on my little aluminum panel where I could see the shiny aluminum. I may have somehow gouged off the wax, and that might give us a problem, but you know what, we'll deal with it. We'll see when we go to release this panel from the mold. That's what this little aluminum thing is the mold, flat panel mold. Back in the day, I was making 4x8 sheets of fiberglass panels for big projects. So there's that. Let's give it a little roll out for a minute. Roll some of this air out of here. Yeah, look at that. That's nice. That's going to be really nice. All right, and once I get the layup done, I'm not going to stick this out in the sun because I'm going 8 layers deep. I think I might just sit it in the shade and let it kick off, quote, naturally. So that's number 3. This would be number 4. Plus I'm doing like 8 layers. So that's kind of bumping it up a little bit. But you notice how fast you get this on here. You just go ahead and get it on. You know, we got this ongoing, always a difference of opinion of epoxy versus polyester. Well, granted, epoxy is, I guess, more superior in its bonding ability than is polyester. However, it's god-awful expensive and does have its downsides. But in the renovation of old boats, like this is a 1978 Pearson, and the entire boat was built out of polyester resin, even the secondary bonding. You know, they say epoxy is really good for repairs and for secondary bonding, which is true. But this boat is 40 some years old, and there was no epoxy used in the construction of this boat, including the secondary bonds. Secondary bonding. Okay. So that's what I'm doing here, is I'm doing the whole thing with polyester. And there's some characteristics about polyester I really like. It wets out faster and easier, and to me prettier than does epoxy. Now if you're doing a vacuum bag situation, then that's a whole different story, but we're talking about open molding. There's a binder in the fiberglass matrix of cloth and mat, CSM chop strap mat. Yeah. With epoxy, it doesn't tend to wet out as fast. Now, so we got 2 more of these we got to do, and I am just about out of resin. So I'm going to mix a little bit more. Load it with partner, and then cause it to cook off, and that's not good. But you can go off for it, I've seen it, catch fire, I've seen smoke, and there's smoke, there's fire. It's not a situation we really want to encourage. But with there's a binder in this fiberglass mat situation that holds together polyester resin, whereas the downraising resin with the epoxy, it's not so much. I just like the speed at which this stuff, the polyester wets itself out, saturates. That's the word, saturates. So we'll see, we'll measure how thick 8 layers is. Now I tend to get handy with resin. We'll see a little more there. I would rather see a resin-rich layup than a resin-poor layup. Now there's limits to that, you know. But you don't want it to really. You're not going to raise those rockets here. You're just fixing boots. Yeah, this is a pretty layup. This should do what I need it to do. Get the rest of that juice on there. And we give it a good roll out. We got a little piece of aluminum foil. There you go. You can see that the air bubbles are just heading out. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of a warm day. So I'm not going to stick this layup, especially because it's 8 layers thick. I'm not going to put it out in the sun. That thing would kick off in 30 minutes, and doesn't need to be that fast. So we're going to get all this nice and rolled out, and then we will have a piece of stock panel that I can build this bracket. And the bracket is actually part of the Centerboard control system. Sounds all fancy, doesn't it? But you'll come along on that ride with us, and we'll see what we get. Yeah, see how that? It's really nice. Really nice. I don't want to get any more air in there. I'm going to try and get the air out, actually. So I'm going to leave that like that. In fact, I'm feeling a little bit of heat already. Yeah. That's from sunlight, I hope. So we're going to put this bad boy right there. And we'll see what happens.